Adventures of Don Quixote. Many years ago, in the province of La Mancha in Spain, there lived a very queer gentleman named Mr. Quixote. He was very tall, thin man of about 50 years. All day, Mr. Quixote would sit in his little library and read exciting stories of knights and their adventures. He was so absorbed by these tales that he spent many sleepless nights reading and thinking about what he read. Lack of sleep made him so muddle headed that one day Mr. Quixona said to himself, "Why should I always be a farmer? I will be a famous knight errant and fight against evil wherever I find it." So he dressed up as a knight and decided to call himself Don Quixote. "I shall ride my horse like a knight. He will carry me most gallantly. I will give him a high sounding name. His name shall be Rocinante." In Latin, the word means previously a common horse. Everybody will understand that he is now no longer common but very uncommon. But there is one thing missing, thought Don Quixote. Like all other knights, I must find a squire who will follow me on my journey and look on while I fight like a hero. So he went to a poor laborer in the village called Sancho Panza. This man had a hard life, a lot of work, and not much money. He was honest but simple. "Sancho Panza," said Don Quixote, "I'm a knight, and I wish you to be my squire. I promise that one day everyone will be talking about your achievements." "Wonderful, my master," said Sancho happily. "I will accompany you," said Sancho. "I will also bring my donkey, for I cannot walk much." Don Quixote was puzzled. He had never read about any knight those rode on a donkey. Yet he said, "You may ride him until I present you with a horse." Very early the next morning, the knight and his squire set out on their travels. Don Quixote said, "Friend Sancho, you must know that it was been the custom of knights to conquer islands and put their squires over them as governors. I shall keep up that good custom." "Thank you, master," said Sancho Panza. Don Quixote felt that he was the most valiant knight in the world. Sancho Panza rode with his knapsack on one side of him and a leather bottle on the other, his feet almost dragging on the ground. His mind was full of hopes of becoming famous. For some time they rode silently because they were both thinking of a glorious future. After a while, Sancho Panza spoke. "I request you, Sir Knight, Be sure to conquer the island you promised me. I wish you govern a large one. Well, I am thinking of improving upon that good custom, said Don Quixote. What if I should conquer 3 or 4 islands that set you up as master of them all? Nothing would please me better, answered Sancho. While they were thus riding and talking, they came to a place where there were a great many windmills. There seemed to be 30 or 40 of them scattered here and there upon the plain. And when the wind blew, their long arms seemed to wave in the most threatening manner. Don Quixote paused in the middle of the road. There, he cried. Look yonder, Sancho, I see at least 30 huge giants, and I will fight all of them. When I have killed them, you will take all their wealth. What giants? Asked Sancho Panza, confused. Look, those are standing in the field just before us, answered the knight. See their long arms. I have read all. Some of them have arms that reach more than 2 miles. Look at them carefully, master, said Sancho. Those are not giants, they are windmills. The things which you call arms are sails, and they flop around when the wind blows. Friend Sancho, said the knight very harshly, you are not used to adventures. I tell you, those things are giants. If you are afraid, go and hide yourself and say your prayers. I shall attack them at once. Without another word, he spurred Rocinante and charged at the windmill. Stand, cowards, he cried. Stand your ground. Do not run away from a single knight who dares to challenge you all to a fair fight. At that moment, the wind began to blow briskly, and all the mill sails were set moving. They seemed to be answering his challenge. He paused a moment. Heavens, he cried, help me in these dangerous adventures. Then he took out of his lance. He covered himself with his shield, and he rushed with Rocinante to the nearest windmill. The long lance stuck into one of the whirling sails. With a force, it was swiftly pulled out of the knight's firm grasp. It was whirled into the air and broke. At the same moment, the knight and his oars were thrown rolling upon the ground. Sancho Panza hurried to the place as quickly as his donkey could carry him. His master was lying helpless by the roadside. Master, didn't I tell you they were windmills? Cried Squire. Peace, friend Sancho, answered Don Quixote, rubbing the dust from his eyes. There is nothing so concerned as war. That wicked magician, Freston, who stole my books, all done all this. They were giants, as I told you, but he changed them into windmills so that I should not have the honor of victory. But Sancho, I will give revenge on him in the end. I believe you, cried Sancho as he dismounted. from his donkey. He lifted the fallen knight from the ground. He brought him his shield and his helmet. Then he helped him remount his horse. The sun was now sloping towards the west, and the knight and squire continued onwards in search of another adventure.